Welcome back. Trust the Process podcast, episode 3. In this episode, we are going to recap week 2 of the NFL season, talk about any major trades that happened this week, and give our predictions for next week. So, with that, let's look at what happened over the weekend.
This weekend, unfortunately, in terms of our narratives with our guessing, was pretty spot on. So we can just kind of dive right into it. So going over Jacob versus Jason, that one, I mean, even though the teams underperformed, still went as expected. We both said that I would win. It worked out that way. So straightforward. Najee versus Birdo, that was going to be another good one for us, but Birdo came out on top. Najee may be in a little trouble. We'll talk about that. J-Rod in the Outlaws versus Meech, straightforward. This is the interesting one. Do want to talk about your move now that I think about it. Which we'll get to as well. Four-string running back versus Schneidi, pretty straightforward. Four stringers won. Zach versus Joe. Joe's team put up a lot more points than I thought they did, but it still went as expected. And then the most exciting one of the whole entire day, the only one we got wrong, was the Lonely Boys taking Stu's team down. That one, that was the most shocking one. What did you kind of think of that?
Yeah, first off, Stu's an idiot for keeping Josh Jacobs in his lineup. He got ruled out on like Wednesday or something last week. And Stu was just off in La La Land and didn't replace him. Thankfully, Joel won by such a huge amount. I don't think it really mattered. I think we were still expecting Stu to win this, even with Josh Jacobs out. And then Aaron Jones on Monday Night Football just went absolutely berserk.
Four touchdowns. Jeez.
Between him and Tanya, and Joel was down a bit going into that game, and it just didn't matter. So,
yeah, no, 100%. Even if you swap out and like optimize the lineup, McKissick would be the only swap that I think was a gain. So he still would have lost. It would have been a little closer, but
and that's if Stu had started him. I know Stu loves Rojo. I bet you he would have swapped to Rojo and not McKissick.
Yeah, more than likely. He is a Rojo stan.
Yeah.
Mostly due to his DraftKings algorithm, but either way, I don't think he would have came out. Obviously, mathematically, he wouldn't have. But that was a huge win for Joel, especially when he knows he's kind of at the bottom of the barrel and just not looking to really win right now. To pull out a win like that it's a good win for the team. If you were an actual franchise, that's a team that's a win you like. But yeah, no, pretty straightforward. We can kind of just go into the one and only trade that happened this week, which was you actually, and J-Rod, the Outlaws, got a first rounder in Gabe Davis. And then you in return got Brandon Cooks. What was your thoughts on that? Because I kind of have a question regarding your path this season.
So J-Rod had said that he was looking for 2023 first. I know my team is young, but we're still I expect my team to be a playoff team for a long time if I didn't make any single moves. So getting a little bit stronger, I think, just gives me a better chance to win. I don't think my pick's that good. And Brandon Cooks might be the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL the last like 5 years. The man puts up 1,000 yards every season, and it just flies under everybody's radar. So super solid production. It kind of fills my last starting spot. That was kind of my weak point. I know I had started Antonio Brown. I had started James Robinson week 1. So now I kind of have, okay, this is what my starting lineup looks like. And then I can fill in those guys, as needed. The pick, like I said, isn't going to be that good. And Gabe Davis was kind of just a toss in, right? I have to cut somebody anyway as part of the trade. And so I'm like, you know what? I might as well throw in Gabe Davis. He's probably the worst prospect on my team, I would say. I liked him a lot more last year as a prospect. This year, Manny Sanders is starting over him. Cole Beasley still getting time. I said, man, if I'm going to give up anybody, it's going to be this guy who looked promising last year, but still isn't getting the snaps. So I gave him up.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense now. I mean, I know you were kind of at a teetering point of deciding, should we go for it? Should we not? Even though you are going to be a playoff team regardless, I think you're definitely just solidifying that. You can really take a turn, maybe have to make one more big move if you really want to get over the top, or maybe these guys like really just keep playing at their ceiling and you'll be good. Like T Higgins, if he can hit his ceiling, like he's going to be an absolute banger for you in that lineup. Even though the name isn't as good as some of the others around him. So no, really interesting move. I like it for both sides too. J-Rod got what he needs in a draft pick and a young prospect he can hang on to at least for a little bit, see what happens one more year or so.
Yeah. Cooks is only 27. I still have 2 picks in this 2022 draft, and right now they're looking really good. Right now it's the 2nd overall and the 4th overall pick going into this next draft. So I could move those and get like an absolute superstar and go that direction. Or even if I don't make any more moves and I draft 2 of the top 5 rookies next year, I would be happy with that too. So I don't feel like giving away that first next year is a complete win now sellout move. It's definitely that direction a little bit, but Cooks isn't 31 or something. You know, I'm not trading for Julio or someone like that. That's clearly a win now type of move. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a great move. Twice now, Cooks. I mean, he started on my team, and you always just have to kind of justify getting rid of him. And for me, it was to upgrade that position. And same for you. You wanted him because he's a solid upgrade. I mean, he was a lock and load starter for me every single week. And so I definitely can understand that move. But yeah, that was really it. I mean, free agency, there was nothing crazy. Couple veterans got picked up just to help fill a void, or they were in a decent spot for a week or two with injuries. But nothing like out of the woodwork that we need to really go over. So it's just kind of the matchups for this week. We got some. It's a really good week. It's a make or break week for a lot of our teams. So I guess we'll kind of just get started. And we will go with Jason versus Zach this week. Overall, I think that Zach's team, although old, and we kind of down it for that, it's still putting up absolute massive points every first 2 weeks. It's been killing it. I have in this one Zach winning the matchup. There's just too much unknown talent and some definite bench players that Jason has to start. Just not going to bring it to the table to really win it out after Zach can put up another 150 points.
Yeah, Zach's been our highest scoring team this far into the season. I still don't think he has what it takes to win the league this year, but we could be wrong. He could pull it off again, get hot at the right time, that type of thing. It feels like continuation from last season to me, to be honest. He ended the year last year. Again, I don't think he had the best team, but he just ended really hot. And it seems like that his team hasn't skipped a beat. And he's just off on that same route. Thoughts and prayers, like you said, just too many question marks. Should be a comfortable win for making moves.
Yep. No, I agree. I'll make sure we highlight what you're picking as well. Going into the next matchup, we got Schneidy's team versus Broken Steps team, battle of the bottom. I have Joe winning. I think Joe's team is, it's not a sexy team by any terms of that. It is just a team that puts up points. He put up 134 last week, which would have beat most of the league. And it doesn't look like it's going to go away. It's just not a sexy looking team.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe's team is sneaky good. I mean, his starting lineup, you have what, 2 guys who wouldn't be a starter on other teams, Singletary and Parker. And outside of that, everyone else is a starter on almost every team in the league. I think he could do a really sick rebuild here. I think if he said, you know what, I look solid, but I'm not going to win with this lineup, and he moved those running backs and reloaded, I think he could have a super sick rebuild. If he doesn't and he stays the way he is, he's a middle of the pack team to me. Schneidy, I think, is probably a bottom of the pack team. He'll have some weeks. You know, his guys have a high ceiling still. But this should be Joe, I think, here.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty handily Joe. I did know Schneidy is starting to really pick up like the dynasty stuff. This is kind of new to him as well. So he's starting to find an understanding of what he's got to do and what his team actually like looks like and what to go for. So the ball's in his court. We'll see kind of what happens. But yeah, until then, he's gonna just kind of lose while trying his damnedest with his lineup. So
yeah.
Next matchup, we have J-Rod and Joel, the Lonely Boys versus the White Claw Outlaws.
Yeah. This one should be Joel here. J Rod is absolute like one of the worst two teams in the league. And it makes sense, right? He's trying to tank and go that direction, rebuild. Joel, I think, is also trying to lose and get a good pick, but his team's too good. He has his starting lineup again looks really solid here. Last week, he put up the second most points of the week, and that was with 6 points from his quarterback. Um, I think this should be Joel here, similar to projected scores there. This should be a pretty comfortable win.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just looking, you have Gabriel Davis, you have Gerald Everett, both in the starting lineup, Hamler. You can't start any of those guys on a team that wants to win. But yeah, we know where he's heading. He's getting picks, he's getting some young players, and in a year or so, Everett, Hamler, all those guys could be studs, with the right opportunity. But for now, he's just gonna keep finding L's. But as long as he's smart about it and makes some moves, it's all worth it. So
Yep.
next matchup is you versus the fourth string running backs. Good old Josh's team. What do you see for your team this week?
This is going to be a good matchup. I mean, projected we're only four different. We're both 2-0. He has more points for than me through the first 2 weeks. So I think this one could go either way. I feel like my team has been playing at its floor and not really its ceiling a ton yet. I haven't had a ton of touchdown equity. AJ Brown hasn't really got going. I haven't had one of those 2 or 3 touchdown games from anybody yet. So I could definitely put up a lot of points, but so can he. Kyler Murray has been dynamite lately. I think the big question mark comes here. What happens with Darrell Henderson? Is he playing? Is he not playing? If he's not playing, that's a big hit to four strings running back team. So, good
Yeah,
matchup.
for sure. So I gave that to. So do you think you're going to come out on top because of that Henderson question
Yeah,
mark?
I'll say
Just
I
like,
don't think Darrell Henderson plays, and because of that, I'll say I think I'll win.
yeah, for sure. That's kind of right in line with how I have it. Your team hasn't, like I said earlier, just hasn't really seen anyone hit a ceiling. I think you have some people waiting for that moment, and you got some good matchups. Miles Sanders could go bonkers against that poor Dallas defense. I think he's one of the guys who, when he hits hard. And the rest of the time he's just pedestrian. But yeah, also you have to, you're starting Miles Gaskin. You have Henderson, who probably isn't going to play this week. When you're having to rely on Gaskin and question mark to make your best optimum lineup, you're not looking good. But this is the first of the 3 matchups that really kind of make or break things for people. And I think if you take it, which I have you winning, you'll start having a really clear picture where you're heading.
Definitely.
Najee versus Stu. What do you
Another
got
good
here?
one.
This
Almost the
is
exact same projected as the last matchup.
mhm.
Najee's in a bit. He's on some thin ice here. There's still a lot of season left, but he's trying to win it, and he's gotten an 0-2 start. He's had a very tough schedule so far. It doesn't really get any easier this week. I know we like to tease Stu, but his team is in kind of that pretender category, right? He'll probably make the playoffs, but probably isn't going to win. And Najee could definitely drop another week to him. And so if he starts off 0-3 when he's planning on contending, man, that's a hole you got to dig out of there.
You either got to keep digging for gold and give up more equity and more future for win now to get something right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a big. I think this is one of the most important matchups too, because for Stu, he needs to see a way he's going to start leaning at 500. It's either going to start being L stacking up or wins, and this is going to be your first test, really. I have my notes on it are Josh Jacobs and Kenny Galladay. Galladay hasn't done anything this season. Not looking like he will either. Him and Daniel Jones clearly don't have a good rapport. They haven't been able to find each other. Somebody who should have been a stud for him is really kind of fizzling out. So I have Najee winning, him getting right. He's got some good matchups on his side. And Stu, sorry, you're going to take the L this week, just like Joel got you last week.
I'm going to put my faith in Stu. I'll pick Stu's team in that matchup.
Okay.
I think it is truly a toss up. And I'll take Stu for the sake of picking different than you.
I like it. I like it. And then the last matchup to talk about was going to be the last set of 2-0s, me versus Birdo. And I'll take the first one. I have me winning. Looks like he's got a little situation with Ertz and COVID. He doesn't, I believe, have another tight end on the roster. Oh, he's gotten Joku and Johnson, two dudes who literally are less than 15 snaps a game, not really getting much going on. It's going to be a really interesting matchup. He's got some good defenses for his players, and my guys just have opportunity. Deontay Johnson's my only question mark, but I think regardless of who I have to fill it with, as long as I pick right, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. I think this is a preview of our championship game probably this year. I think you guys are the two strongest teams. You're both in win now mode. Cooper Kupp's been having an awesome season. Chubb is looking good. Devontae Adams had a good game. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This could be a 160 to 150 point win or something like that, you know. I'm gonna go with Bordeaux's team again just to pick against you, assuming you're picking your team here. But yeah, two best teams here.
Yeah, I am gonna pick me to win. I think my team just comes out on top. Like I said, I think Kupp gets shut down, and he's been a huge catalyst for Bordeaux's success. Tampa Bay's a really good defense, and I think they're gonna focalize on these receivers with the running backs hurt over there. So
Yeah,
I think that's
run it.
a big damper. So overall, we got for the same two different this week. Hopefully, somebody hits all six, and this week was kind of dull. Going into next week, I think we'll have a lot more to talk about though.
Yeah, the picks last week, I think there was a lot of obvious winners in each matchup. And there's probably 4 out of our 6 matchups this week where it's like, man, I could see either team winning. And I think too, after this week, I think some teams are going to start to draw conclusions about their season and really start making some moves. If Najee starts 0-3, if some of these other teams start 3-0 when they didn't expect to, you might see people pushing the chips when they really shouldn't. They've just kind of, lucked their way into 3-0 or something like that. So I'm really curious to see not just how these matchups go, but how do these people manage their teams in the 7 days following, this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited for. It feels like the league's becoming a lot more active as well, just in terms of people having communication about players, availability, willing to hear things. I've seen a lot more chatter. People have been putting things on the trading block as well. So yeah, come the outcomes of this, people who are looking to really pivot to contenders are going to be buying these guys, and people looking to sell can show us what's available. So
Right.
yeah, awesome. I think that does it from my end of things this week.
Yeah, that's all I have. Good luck to everybody. We'll see you guys after week 3.
Yeah, take it easy.